Let's get some more on this now with Catherine Guilyardi, who's a French journalist based in Paris. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Let's talk specifics about this budget first of all. Why is Michel Barnier's social security budget so contentious? What are the main sticking points, considering he has said, as Ross, our reporter, just said, that it is proportionate and it's responsible and to reduce the deficit?
Yes, when you're a member of the EU, you have to have a deficit close or under 3%, and at the moment France is aiming at 5% of deficit next year, and the new government wants to lower the reimbursement of medicines, to block the increase of pensions, and also he's worked on the social security for all, meaning whichever is your situation for foreigners, for example, who do not have papers, and the far right wanted him to accept its red lines, meaning that no lowering the reimbursement of medicine, no social security for all, especially for foreigners, and do not block the increase of pensions. And what's interesting is that this government, which, as your correspondent was saying, has been appointed after a few months of having no government in France, has actually had the possibility to be where it is because of the far right. And the far right has wanted to play a sort of a kingmaker role, allowing this government to stay in power. And despite the left having the most numerous group of lawmakers in parliament at the moment, but it would have worked with the National Front, and this government has actually accepted quite a few things from the National Front in this law. So anyway, that's the thing, but not enough, not enough. You have to know that the National Front, or now it's called the National Rally, from Marine Le Pen, is in a very specific situation, since Marine Le Pen is actually threatened by decision of justice to lose the possibility to be the president of France, because she might not be allowed to present herself for a new election in the 5 years to come. So her position has definitely become much harsher.
Okay.
But anyway, to make it simple, it's due to this budget, but not so much. This is a political situation.
And so what does actually happen if the vote of no confidence does pass through and the government is forced to resign? What does that mean? Will there be an election? And is the position of Michel Barnier that potentially there is financial turmoil due to this vote of no confidence, does that help his position at the moment?
The position of no confidence does not help Michel Barnier's position. It is most probable that he will lose the possibility to remain the Prime Minister from this Wednesday, because the vote of no confidence is voted by the MPs from the National Rally and the coalition from the left. They are enough to make him fall. But France's constitution opens three possibilities. A new government, so the president will have to find a new majority, I'll put it in bracket. The other solution would be to call off the assembly, to call for a new election for the National Assembly, but it's not possible before a year, because the president did it, as your correspondent was saying, before the summer. And the third possibility is that the French president resigns, that Emmanuel Macron says, okay, I'm leaving, and then there's a new presidential election, but this is very unlikely. So it's an unseen situation in France. We've always had a parliament with a clear majority, or at least a majority not far from the majority. You have 577 MPs in the French parliament, and the biggest group now is the left wing with 200 MPs. So as you can see, no one has a majority, and it's extremely difficult to have a clear majority with this parliament, but we are blocked. We cannot call, the president cannot call for a new election for another year. So this is the situation of France, and it is indeed unseen.
So incredibly high stakes moment. Catherine Guilyardi, journalist based in France, thank you so much for joining us.